With that being said, not only are Democrats making war on guns and our Second Amendment rights, but you have Joe Biden still continuing this war on oil. It is such a losing issue. It is mind-blowing. His poll numbers are at embarrassingly low records, almost records we've never seen before. They are so low that Donald Trump, after January 6th, still has better poll numbers than Joe Biden. So you have all these leftists going crazy. Oh, well, at least we didn't do an insurrection. All these, you got Joe Biden on immigration, you got Joe Biden on the economy, you got Joe Biden on oil prices, you got Joe Biden blowing up Afghan families in Afghanistan. You have 13 American soldiers dying in Afghanistan. You have Iran building a nuclear weapon. He's not increasing domestic oil production. You got inflation. You got your grocery prices going through the roof. He's trying to attack you on all levels of your First Amendment right and your Second Amendment rights. He's pro-abortion, even though he's a Catholic. I mean, not to mention the whole Putin thing going on in Ukraine. And then all Democrats have to say, out of all of that, and that was just some of the things. That wasn't even me listing all of the things. They're going to say, oh, well, he didn't do January 6th. Oh, well, look, he doesn't do insurrection. Neither did Trump. He said protest peacefully because you got some idiots out there doing idiotic things. Now, all of a sudden, it's Trump's fault. They're going to have a hard time proving intent, folks. I know you want to try and listen to everything that Cassidy Hutchinson says about him trying to take over a limo, Grand Theft Auto style, and do all these things. And no. Nothing's going to happen, folks, because it's a witch hunt. Very similar. The same people that want to push the January 6th stuff, these Democrats and progressive left, are the same ones that were talking about Russia for years on end, and nothing ever came of it. Why? Because it's all smoke, no fire, folks. It's a nothing burger. They're going to continue to push. That's all they have. That is, look at Joe Biden. That is all they have is January 6th. Literally. The guy is a walking dumpster fire. And like I said, folks, read the comments. Please play in the comments with me. Because it is amazing that there's people going, oh, I'll still vote for him over Trump. It's like, man, you're an idiot. You're an actual knucklehead. I don't use that word lightly. Like if somebody's really an idiot, because I like to be nice to most people. I like to think that, I should be cordial and try to be respectful as much as possible. If you still think Joe Biden's a good vote, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. There's other Democrats out there that are better than Joe Biden. I'm sure there are. But regardless, let's get to this next point here regarding Joe Biden fighting these oil companies. So if you remember, Biden blasted a piece out there on Twitter demanding that these gas stations lower their prices. And as you'd expect, Joe Biden doesn't have a clue on how all this stuff works and profits and stuff. At least read something, man, before you post it. I get that we say stupid things every now and then. I say stupid things every now and then. We all sometimes get it wrong, especially when you're talking as much as we do. You're going to get something wrong. But for the love of God, man, you know that gas stations aren't making that big of a profit. That's been known for years, but he's still going to peddle this and push it out. So an oil group blasted Biden's tweet, tells intern who posted this to take Econ 101. Biden should be involved in that as well. Not just microeconomics, but how about we throw in macroeconomics in there as well, because he doesn't have a clue on either. The U.S. Oil and Gas Association blasted the president as his apparent economic illiteracy for demanding that gas stations bring down their prices. The national average price of gallon in the United States is currently at $4.80. It is down a little bit, and that was according to AAA. The national average temporarily surpassed $5 per gallon last month. Could rise depending what Putin decides to do with his barrels of oil, and we'll get into that in a moment. We did talk a little bit about yesterday, but we're going to kind of make the connection here to what's going on now with Joe Biden, with these oil companies, with the gas stations, with these oil CEOs. Fuel costs have risen since Russia invasion of Ukraine, yet the Biden administration has pursued policies such as nixing expansions to the Keystone XL pipeline last year and delaying new drilling permits. And he's going further, folks. He is going way further than he's admitting. But remember, I know I emphasize this all the time. He's doing everything he can, guys. He is breaking his back over trying to figure this out. It's a joke. Meanwhile, Biden has repeatedly exhorted oil companies to cut their own prices and increase production. It's like, all you can do is laugh at this point because the guy is so not with us. It is revolutionary. We've never seen anything like it, folks. Quote, my message to the companies running gas stations and setting prices at the pump is simple. This is a time of war and global peril, Biden repeated. Bring down the price you're charging at the pump to reflect the cost you're paying for the product and do it now. You can't even say it with a straight face. I love how when I do these compilations of Joe Biden fumbling through his words, fighting with his teleprompter, losing his train of thought, saying asinine things, doing asinine things. You got these Democrats coming out going, oh, well, I could do this with Trump stuff. Trump has said asinine things. Yes, we know that, but Trump's always said asinine things. Joe Biden didn't always say asinine things. Sometimes he did. But hell, we can see videotape. It's not like we were freaking still in the Stone Age. We could see videotape of how Joe Biden used to be and talk compared to now. You're telling me they're the same person? And you're going to match up Joe Biden cognitively with Donald Trump? I don't think so. The only thing that you can match Joe Biden up with is with an overused hairdryer. Okay, the thing barely runs. It's a little beater. You're trying to get to the end of the day with it. In the same way, we're trying to just get to the end of Joe Biden's term before this country goes down the drain. God. The U.S. Oil and Gas Association, a petroleum industry advocacy group, responded to the commander-in-chief by affirming that they are working on it. The organization wished Biden a happy 4th of July and asked him to please make sure that the White House intern who posted the tweet registers for Econ 101 for the fall semester. So damn good. Whoever wrote that tweet themselves deserves a little bit of a boost and a little bit of a raise because that is awesome. Crude oil accounts for just 59% of prices at the pump, with refining, distribution, and taxes accounting for the rest of the consumers, the cost that consumers face when they go to the pump. So him kind of espousing all these things doesn't really do much. You do have prices charged by gas station have recently have been dropped due to the pace that the price of oil has gone down. There's also kind of a drop in a slower pace regarding the price of oil as well, and a decrease. Just the other day, it was at $111 per barrel, I believe, depending on what you look at. Now it's under 100, so there is a little bit of decline, which is good. But we're going to get into how can we reduce inflation, and this is per what the oil companies are saying. We'll get to that in a moment. Quote, one potential explanation is that station operators are recapturing margins lost during the upswing. And this is what I talked about, is during COVID, they lost billions of dollars. And so you have these progressive leftists and Democrats losing their minds that now they have record profits, but they're accounting for also the losses that they had in prior year. When gas stations were initially slow to the increased pump prices, the reluctance to lower retail prices also likely reflects concerns that oil prices and other, hence wholesale gasoline prices, may quickly rebound, eating into station profit margins. This comes from a Dallas analyst. Gas stations earn a slim 1.4% margin on their fuel, folks. But Joe Biden says, hey, you know what? Cut the price. Are they supposed to have a loss? Is my question to everybody. Is he just supposed to be losing on this? Maybe. That's what he wants. Placing them among the lowest margin industries in the United States. Indeed, a Barron's analyst of data from more than 135,000 gas stations showed that although profits briefly jump after the Russia invasion, the industry is still recovering from earlier profit shortfalls that arose due to supply chain issues. Gas stations, which Barron categorized as Manaus in the gasoline food chain, are now suffering as customers pass on snack purchases due to inflationary pressures. So he's going to continue these charades. He's going to continue to peddle the stuff against the oil companies as well as gas stations. Remember, before it was about Putin, we need to take the hit because of Ukraine and all these things. And then it was COVID-19. He just kept kicking the can down the road, and now he's fighting with gas stations. It does remind you of Hillary Clinton on her losing against Donald Trump. I mean, it was anybody and everybody's fault but herself. If you recall in yesterday's episode, we talked about JP Morgan and Chase warning that oil prices could triple to $380, meaning that your national average would be anywhere from, I don't know, $15 to $16 an hour. Some analysts say $10. That didn't really make much sense to me because if you're tripling the price per barrel, then you would imagine there'd be some sort of tripling the price per gallon as well. I could be wrong on that. Again, demand and supply does change things a little bit, but a lot of power is left into Putin's hand to really inflict pain on the West. Now, how can we fix this inflation thing? The answer is oil. You need to increase production. Joe Biden is not going to do it, folks. We're in this for the long haul. He knows it. Kamala Harris knows it. They both come out and said it. New York billionaire and refiner who owns hundreds of gas stations blasted Joe Biden, pinning the blame on high prices at the pump on gas station owners, arguing there's only one solution for inflation: boosting production of crude oil. I've said this time and time again. I'm freaking hitting my head against the wall on this. There's freight involved. You have a lot of people passing down the cost on the consumer because of that freight, which is why you partially have one of the increases in your grocery list, bread, milk, all those things, is because the cost of freight's gone up. Granted, in some areas as well, you also have the cost of labor going up. You look at California, I'm not joking, just down the street, a Panda Express is paying somebody almost $24 an hour to shovel food onto a plate. The food's cooked, guys. It's in a bin. You're just taking a spoon and putting it in a styrofoam plate and passing it to somebody. And you're making over $20 an hour. And people are baffled that chicken and all this stuff is like $18 for a plate of food. They're baffled by it. They can't figure it out. These people that vote in all these minimum wage hikes and all this stuff, they can't figure it out. It's amazing. And then they're so baffled when they go to a different state, like Middle America, and they're like, oh my God, everything's so cheap around here. It's just so stupid. Not only does Biden's intern and Biden himself need to take economics or econ 101, but clearly a lot of other Democrats and leftists do as well. You also have this person making remarks in an interview on Fox News on June 24th after being asked regarding a comment on Biden's call to gas station owners to bring down the price and basically demanding to do so, saying, do it now. His thing is, it's just ridiculous to put it in on us. So that was his comment saying, look, what his comment is saying is just absolutely asinine. It's ridiculous that you're trying to put all this pressure on us when you alone don't want to make the changes to make life easier for Americans. So he reacted to Biden's remarks by defending gas station owners, arguing that they've been making the same margin that we've been making forever, as they have to cover payroll and pay rent, electricity bills, and other operating expenses. Joe Biden doesn't understand that, man. He doesn't understand that. Guy's been living off the government teat for his entire life. I'm not sure if he knows about bills anymore. While the margin gas station owners may fluctuate several cents one way or the other, he said that it's ridiculous to put it on us. We're not the ones that created the problem. 100% correct. Gas stations didn't create the problem. Who did? Yeah, partly Putin and Ukraine war. Yes, partly. Yes, COVID-19, which can be blamed on China. I'm still waiting to see them to get in trouble for that. But it's also Joe Biden. The price of gasoline has nearly doubled since Biden's taken office, with the president variously blaming oil industry greed, a lack of refining capacity, global supply shortfalls set against a sharp post-pandemic rebound in demand, and the war in Ukraine. Some experts and industry insiders have argued that the Biden administration's anti-fossil fuel policies have discouraged companies from investing in refining capacity. 100%. Why the hell would you go spend millions and millions of dollars on trying to access new land, trying to do more drilling, hire more probably union workers, which is expensive, do all these things, the insurance behind it, all these things, when you know that you have an administration, you have an entire party, half the country wants to basically make you out of business, run you out of business. Why would you do it? And they're not going to. They're not going to. There's a serious quote that's embedded in here that I want to read for you all because it shows you where oil companies are going and how we are really screwed for the long run. It's not the war in Ukraine. It's really domestically caused constraint on the supply side, said Ross McKittrick, a professor of economics at the University of Ontario, an expert on energy and environmental policy. So the guy knows a little bit about something. Quote, nobody's willing to invest in expanding refinery capacity because the outlook from everything that the government has said is you won't get the approvals. McKittrick's view was echoed by Chevron CEO Mike Wirth, who said in a recent interview that he does not believe another oil refinery will be built again in the United States, arguing that government policies are the key factor. Let me reread you that. That is important. He says that he does not believe another oil refinery will be built again in the United States. Why? Because of government policies are a key factor. Coming from the CEO, you think this guy's BSing us? If you're going to call a guy greedy, then he's going to want more money, meaning he's going to want to build more oil refineries. But he's saying, look, it's just not going to happen because of the way the government is. And it's not the government, not just the government. It's one party. Let's be clear on this. It's the Democrat Party. Republicans want drilling. Conservatives want drilling. A lot of independents want drilling. A lot of Americans want drilling. It's the Democrat Party and the progressive left, like AOC, Ilhan Omar, Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. All these people want to sit there and eliminate fossil fuels from America. And that's why we have this problem. Quote, we've seen refineries closed. We've seen units come down. We've seen refineries being repurposed to become biorefineries. And we live in a world where the stated policy of the United States government is to reduce demand for the products that refiners produce. But Joe Biden's not going to mention that to people. You have to go and dig for this stuff. You have to actually do research. But a lot of people don't want to do that because they think Joe Biden is just doing a fabulous job. We have 100 years worth of oil, he said. Open up the spigots. We've been saying it for years. Here's the problem that I see as well going forward. Whoever the next president, hopefully say it's Trump, say we do have a Republican in office, DeSantis, it's still going to take a couple of years to get things up and running and be able to start domestic oil production, build more refineries, do all these things before you even see a dramatic impact. And we could see a dramatic impact on gas prices and food prices because of the freight of cost has gone drastically low. We were looking at a lot of drilling, a lot of oil before when Trump was in office, and we had shelling, we had fracking, we had drilling, we had all these things going for us. And you have the Democrat Party coming into place and ruining for all of us. And they're going to blame it on COVID and everything else because they have an agenda. They have a plan to get rid of fossil fuels. They don't want to admit it. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.